Some of you people might be having trouble memorizing your polyatomic ions. So in this video, I'm going to be using, I'm going to be showing you some of the tricks you can use in order to memorize these faster. By the way, polyatomic ions are very important. So from here on out, please memorize them and make sure you know them, because every single test from now on will have polyatomic ions in some shape or form. These are very important. Okay, please memorize them. Okay, so the first trick is the hydrogen trick. I call it the hydrogen trick. But anyways, it's very, if you take a polyatomic ion like phosphate, if you add a hydrogen, it becomes hydrogen phosphate, and the charge is dropped. C3 minus 2 minus. I add another hydrogen, it becomes dihydrogen phosphate, and it becomes H2PO4 minus, and the charge is dropped again. That also happens for sulfate. Sulfate to hydrogen sulfate, you add an H, charge is dropped. Sulfite to hydrogen sulfite, you add an H, charge is dropped. Where else does that happen? Carbonate to hydrogen carbonate, you add an H, charge is dropped. Okay. Second trick is, let's look here. Okay, we have chloride, hypochlorite, chlorate, and perchlorate. If you look here, let me just show you this. So, chlorate becomes chlorite, which means you drop an oxygen. If you make it hypochlorite, you drop another oxygen. If you take chlorate and you add the per in front of it, it's going to be, you're going to add an oxygen. That also happens between nitrate and nitrite. You take nitrate, you go ahead and drop an oxygen to get nitrite. It becomes NO2. Where else does that happen? Oh, here. Sulfate to sulfite, you drop an oxygen. From sulfate, it becomes sulfite. Phosphate to phosphite, you drop an oxygen. Phosphate becomes phosphite. And then the final trick which I used was the relationship between the polyatomic ion and then the thio of that ion, like sulfate and thiosulfate. I don't know whoever wrote these for me just decided to put thiosulfate here, but I'm sorry about that. But for sulfate and thiosulfate, if you add thio, you're going to go ahead and drop an oxygen and add a sulfur. So you see, like you have SO4 2 minus, you drop the oxygen, so it becomes O3, and then add a sulfur, so it becomes S2, thiosulfate. That also happens between cyanate and thiocyanate. You drop the you drop the oxygen, so you get the CN, and then you add in sulfur, so that becomes thiocyanate. And if you memorize, if you know those rules, not rules, tricks. If you just know those tricks, that should help you memorize these. Go ahead and use a Quizlet. I think we've attached my Quizlet, which I used last year, in order to memorize these. You can use that, so you don't have to waste time making one. But yeah, go ahead and memorize these. They're very important. I'm Shreyas, and this has been a Simple Chemistry production.